Welcome back to the Kim, Mallory, and Emily show. We are still doing the beginner series of how to grow your business. Small, simple, practical steps to get you started on the right path. And today's topic is leading right into that. What are the first 3 things you need to do to start your business, to launch your business, to grow your business, to build your business, however you say it? This is something that we come across very often in eSchool because many of our coaches are new coaches and haven't made $10,000 yet. So they need the very basic steps because it's so overwhelming, right? There's just so many things to do. What are the first 3 things I can do this week? That's what we're going to talk about. Malerie, what's been your experience working with new coaches? Where are they hung up in, like, the overwhelm?
There is a lot to think about and a lot to do, and that's the nature of it. But the step 1 is always the hardest, usually for anything, to get started with anything. And they think that they have to have everything all mapped out and planned out and know exactly what it looks like, what the whole business looks like, before they take the first step, which is actually the opposite, because you cannot see what the rest of it is without taking the first step. The first step for any business is making sure that more people know you. People don't know you. It doesn't matter how prepared you are. You won't be able to help people. You won't be able to sign clients. You won't be able to do anything if no one knows you. Yeah. And that's the hardest thing, because we don't want to be seen and like people to look at us and assume or think thoughts that we are not prepared, right? So they want to be prepared before they put themselves out there.
Yeah. And relating back to that, the problem that I see is perfectionism is just procrastination.
Yeah.
How about you, Emily?
Yeah, I think it's along the same lines of wanting to feel and look professional. And you might have the skills of the professional, but if you don't have your storefront set up, so to speak, online, with all of your tech and your brand design, then you hide because you don't feel like you're actually professional. You feel like a fraud. And so you don't feel like you can actually introduce yourself as a professional coach or practitioner of whatever kind. So I think that's what it definitely held me back just starting out. It's not feeling professional.
Mm-hmm. So what we're going to talk about today, we've got 12 steps to becoming a coach. That's the basis of eSchool. 12 things that you need to do to have a successful coaching business. And we're talking about before scaling, 12 things. So we're going to kind of go into that, come out, and then stay really specific about these 3 things. Because whoever is listening, if you have questions, you are welcome to put them below. We will engage with you. We want to help you do something this week. So if we were starting the 12 steps, the first thing would be making a decision that you want to be a business owner. And what type of business do you want to have? Maybe it's direct sales. Maybe it's a fitness trainer. Maybe it's a coach of some sort. But you have to decide. Maybe it's, I'm going to be a general life coach. And then you have to attain your skills for it to make sure you are qualified, because you're going to have imposter syndrome if you don't actually feel like you have something to serve them, some value to give them. So that's your job to make sure that you're qualified. We were talking about this in the More Than Mindset group this week about the mind body coaching or the advanced coach training, how so many of them, they weren't getting started because they actually didn't feel like they had something of value to offer. They weren't sure. They were not convinced. They hadn't had their own breakthrough or they hadn't had their own coaching experience. So speaking to coaches specifically, if you don't feel confident, get some practice, up your skill set. So determine you're going into business, determine what your business is going to be, and then get really good at your craft, whatever that's going to be. If you're going to open a tanning salon, then you want to know about tanning lotions. You want to know about prices. You want to be that is your gathering evidence to be an expert or authority in the industry, so you can put yourself in the competitive space. Then you want to brand. You want brand identity. Emily, how do they feel from coming in and not having a brand and then having their brand identified and created with you? What do they say to you?
They say they feel super confident in what they're able to talk about and what they're able to share with their clients or prospective clients online. They go from feeling scared and timid, like I said, like feeling like a fraud, like I don't have my stuff together, and then they're ready to show up to the party. That's kind of how I think about it. It's like putting on your favorite dress or your favorite pair of jeans and you're ready to go be yourself. That kind of solid confidence comes from really having who you are and what you're doing in your business truly expressed in a visual way. I think visuals and in the messaging and how you talk about yourself, that's part of the brand identity as well.
It's just something in our being that needs that clarity. And if we're not feeling professional, we're not going to be able to sell professionally. Like we're not going to have the clarity and the confidence. So, all right. So then you determine your brand. We call it brand identification. From there, you've got to decide what is your marketing strategy and plan. Like, how are you going to let people know about what you're offering? How are you going to, like, where are you going to get your first client? Think of it that way. Where are you going to get your first client? So we're going to talk about creating a valuable offer that people can opt in and trade an email for. So it's not free. They're giving you an email in exchange for it, but it does offer value. So what we're doing here today is a valuable offer. It is free. And I just posted something in the comments that you can sign up for that could help you take your very next step with us. It's something that I'm doing today at 1:00 in a couple of hours. And I believe it's not actually, this one's not free, it's $47, but it's an example. It's something that you will offer that they will sign up for that will give them something tangible, something that takes them to the next step. So the example that I'm using is Pitch Perfect, which is to help you identify who you are in the market, who your client is, and what your offer is. And so that is something of value, low end or free. They'll sign up for it. They'll come and I'll give them value in advance. So you have to decide that. It might be how to lose the next 10 pounds, how to stop screaming at your kids, how to prepare simple meals on the go. All of those are valuable. Doesn't everyone want to know that? How to sleep better at night. What to do to calm down when you're feeling anxious. See how they're really clear? The person's going to know exactly who they are. I want to sleep better at night. This anxiety is like affecting all parts of my life. Yeah, I need some simple meals. We're at the ballpark. Like we have kids, we're at the ballpark all the time, right? Simple meals would be great. So that's what we're going to talk about today. 3 things that you can do. And you decide right now, if you're listening to this, what can you offer your potential clients that will take them to the next step? Something that you can offer. You don't need to give the whole shebang. But don't just give them a fluffy PDF. Give them value that's worth signing up for. So one of the questions you can ask to determine this is, what would I have signed up for before I figured this out? So if it's lose the next 10 pounds, what did you need to know to lose those 10 pounds? What do you wish you had known 6 months before that would have simplified your journey, that would have given you exact steps to get those results? Do you have an idea, Malerie or Emily, that you would, for someone who's like, I don't know what I want to offer?
Well, we talk about this, like titling it like the 3 things you need to start a business, the 3 steps to reduce anxiety, like something quick and easy to digest. I personally have signed up for like 3 videos on how to lose however much weight, 3 workbook that accompanies videos is great, a PDF that accompanies that kind of thing. But really, it's like the takeaway is, what is something that I can do today or this week that will move me closer to my goal, whatever that goal is. Like how to stop yelling at your kids.
Yeah, you did Take Fiver.
Yes, mine for moms was how to take 5. And the Fiver is an acronym for steps that are really the coaching process and self-coaching, really, to regulate your own nervous system so that you can not yell at your kids and not, do stuff that you regret later, like how to control yourself. So it's something that a mom can easily take in, watch a video, have a worksheet, and then implement that day.
And it needs to be super simple and to the point. Like, you want to give them the punchline. And if you have thoughts that you're giving them the whole enchilada, get over it, because that's not true. They need to be able to trust that if you're going to give them all of that, shoot, if I pay her, how much more will she give me? Like, you'll feel that way if you do the business liftoff or the pitch perfect with me, because we give enough in that amount of time to take you to the next level. Malerie, yours was something with photo. You were doing branding photography, and it was about selfies, maybe?
Yeah, it was called Love Your Selfies. And it's about how to, like, what are the actual steps to take to improve your selfies in between your branding photos. So it supported the next step for them, but it was, how do you get started? All my branding pictures are ugly. I don't like the way I look in my branding pic. They don't look as good as those. What's happening and what am I doing wrong? And what can I change to make my pictures look better? Because I need pictures, but I'm not ready for a branding shoot yet. That's what it was. And there was even like the next step. This is the next thing that you can do if you want to take that step. But I was thinking back to, what's the last thing that I signed up for? And it's actually been a while, but I'm thinking about the most recent course that I took in branding photography a couple of years ago. What was the freebie that I signed up for with her? And it wasn't a video. It was like, you have to take these 3 pictures at every branding shoot. And I was like, oh, what is that? And it led me down the line. And I was like, that's exactly what I needed to know. And I used it at my next branding shoot. And then I wanted more. So it can be super simple. And I think a lot of the times it flies like under the radar of our awareness, because we think all these things need to happen for them to win. And we overlook the very first step.
Yeah.
Because if you want to give someone a quick win that's going to make them say, oh, maybe this could work, it's got to be super simple and it's got to be effective. And maybe they've tried it before and maybe they haven't, but if they haven't heard it the way that you say it and the way that you teach it, maybe that is the next step for them. I think a lot of people overlook that.
It needs to solve a problem. So in that case, we had all of these clients who didn't have the professional photos yet, or were waiting to get them, or they didn't want to use just that. So they needed diversity in their post, a little bit of casual with a little bit of professional. And so it was great. Like, what angles should they be doing this at? What does the lighting look like? And so it was something that was solving an actual problem that our clients were having. And with Emily doing the Take Fiver, it was like, she was a brand new mom. And she was like, heck, how do I keep it together? How do I hold it together? And when you're working with someone who's got overwhelm and stress and anxiety and worry, and they're trying to figure it out, it needs to be like, hey, stop, pause. Now, just do this. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. And they're going to get that first hit. And so that's what your freebie is. If there is anyone here live and you have a question while we're on this topic about determining what it's going to be, you are free to put it there and one of us will check it and we will answer it here live. So it needs to solve a problem. How-to guides work great, or what not to do, or what's the biggest lesson I learned in achieving this. And the way that you can use it, I'm going to give you some ideas. Let's say you have a podcast. Now, your podcast can be your lives on Facebook or Instagram, and you can just save them, put them on YouTube, put a cover on them, call them a podcast, and then you would have a call to action. So as you're talking on the podcast, you're like, I have a workbook to match this. I did a video sequence on this last month. If you're interested, click on there and see they give you their email and you give it to them for free. So it could be with a podcast. It could be alongside a live webinar or a masterclass. We could do something right here today that says, hey, we have the exact 3-step guide. This would have been a great idea for you to create your first freebie. So click on the link in the comments. You would give your email address. You would go and create your freebie. And then you come to a couple of these things and you're like, man, if they give me all that for free, I wonder what they do in eSchool. Okay. Do y'all want to add anything to the determining what it is for it? So that's the first step. We have 3 steps. The first step is to determine what is the value in advance that you're going to give in exchange for an email.
One thing that I've done, like I follow this one YouTuber a lot, and I've noticed part of her business model and her freebies are like 7 recipes for using essential oils at home, like putting them on your dryer balls or making a sugar scrub or something. And I'm like, yes, I want that. Like, I want to know those recipes. And I continually follow her, download her products, like I am invested in all the things that she's teaching, and I'm on her email list. I open all her emails. Like I'm in her community. I bought a course from her, but everything she puts out, it's very casual. Like, here's something I'm already doing in my life. I'm sharing it with you for free. And she has my email, and
Yeah.
it's not icky or salesy or anything. It's just like, this is the natural part of my life and what I do, recipes for my kids. It's just very easy and simple and stuff that I'm invested in learning as a new mom. So that's just another idea, like 3 to 7 recipes for something.
Got it. Malerie, anything else come up for you? No, I'm thinking about, let's say you do, it could be in your Facebook group or on your business page, or even your right, but let's say you do a video series. And so it's like, for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to be talking about ... And every week you talk about one topic that they all connect, but it leads to one thing. And then you download those videos, put them in a folder, or you can even do them on YouTube as unlisted. This is a way to do it for free. To do it as unlisted or download onto your computer, put them in a folder, put a name on it, like 6, and then they can opt in for that. You're just like, I did this series about 6 months ago. Like we did this with the Believing Better series. We have over a dozen stories that our clients told about moving through change and how hard it was and where they are today. And that is now available in our member vault, where they can put their email. So that way they get onto our email list, and then they can go and listen to all those testimonial stories. Does that make sense? Everybody's good with that? Everybody, anybody here in the audience have any questions before I move? First one is determining. You have to determine what it is. And then you can do your breaking it down with bullet points and map it out to decide, is it going to be video? Is it going to be PDF style? Is it going to be, what do you call that? The form, the questionnaire?
The quiz.
Yeah. Will it be a quiz? Like, how are you going to relay the information to them? How are they going to receive it? And I know some of you are going to ask, well, what would be the best way? It's going to be the one you're most comfortable. I'm very comfortable in video. And like, even when I record my podcast, I record it on video, even though just the audio gets sent away. I don't know why. It's just what I've gotten used to. Some people prefer like blogging and written and outline. Now, the best way is to do all of them. Have the video, have it subscribed, have the audio, and then the PDF of the subscription, and then questions to implement along the way with a workbook. That's pretty much the full package. It would be high quality, and you would be able to separate those out, or you could even bundle them and sell it. Like, you can later sell it, have a value price. Or if you're selling one-on-one, they get it as a bonus. So can you see how many ways this can be used? All right. So first one is determine. And then you need an email sequence. So once they log in and you have their email, they need an email that says, welcome. That was a great decision. Here's what you do next. So this is how to improve your open email rate. They sign up for something that they really want, and they will make sure that they go and open it. And then you have at least 3 to 5 following emails, checking in, follow up, seeing what's the next step. How can you continue to give them value, continue to build a relationship like what you're saying with the essential oils, so that you can stay in touch. And then the next time you have a live event or an offer or a masterclass, they know about it. They already know some things about you. And then they start moving into your warm container. So they start off as cold. They had no idea who you were. They were just interested in what you were giving away. Then they tried it. They saw if it was valuable to them, if it worked. And then you continue the conversation and they're like, I'm going to do the next thing with her. Any follow up on that, Malerie? You are the email, our email person.
Yeah, we actually have like an email sequence strategy inside of eSchool. So that's like one step that our clients take. And then we help them implement it in their email marketing software. So don't get caught up in the tech of it. If you're someone who thinks it's too hard because of the tech, keep it as simple as possible. The whole point is be building your email list and offering value to those people and serving those people off of social media. It's really important if you're going to grow a business to have different ways to communicate with people. And your email list is people that have chosen to hear from you, and no one can take that away. Like if Facebook shuts down again or Instagram shuts down again, you still can communicate with people through your email list. It's so important. Start doing it now.
And here's an example, what she just said. In eSchool, we have a product that is how to create, like it's the format, the template for that email sequence. We could, as we're talking, we could stick that in the comments and say, if you would like to receive that email sequence, comment below, me, and we will get in touch with you. Now, notice what I just did. I didn't just drop it and say, here's the link this time, because I'm looking to boost engagement. And the way social media works is when someone comments or likes, then Facebook will show it to more people because it's relevant. So you could do either of those ways. It depends on what stage of your business is. We do an assessment to see where you are, how many followers, how much engagement, to see, because you don't really want to use social media to make offers. Social media is not a selling platform. It's a relationship and engagement platform. So if we're doing this live and we're like, are you interested in the email sequence? And then you comment below, and then we will comment back, and then we'll get that to you. Can y'all see how this is working? Anybody here have questions about any of this? Nope. Okay. Did you have anything to add on the second step, the email sequence, other than you enjoy opening your essential oil emails, which is great.
I think, what I end up doing with our eSchool clients when it comes to email is making sure, we put together a nice email signature and things like that. But really, Malerie is the email queen.
Okay.
She's got goods.
And Malerie can post something in the comments if you want an example of the next thing. So you've decided what it's going to be and what the format's going to be, and you've created it. And then once they sign up, they receive an email that says, welcome, you've made the best decision of your life. And then you have them on a new email list. That's like, these are new babies. They're cold. Like they're kind of lukewarm because they actually signed up for something. And so you know that you're going to speak to them differently than someone who's been with you for 3 years. For at least the first 3 to 5 emails. That's it. The next thing you're going to need is a landing page or an opt-in page or an opt-in form. So this could be on your social media page. It could say sign up, and they click on it, and then it takes them to a page that tells them what they're signing up for. And then it triggers that email follow-up. So I don't want to use big technical words. I know but this is super simple. You can do it all by hand to understand the way that it flows. And then you'll see why the automation is important, which again, this is something that we work with a lot of coaches on because they get hung up in the tech part, which is why we have Malerie and Emily in eSchool. I don't do that either. I had to hire them. And I was like, if I have to hire them, then we're going to do something together so that my clients can hire them. So that's how eSchool came about. Okay, so
I would like to say something about that because I'm very techie and visual and I love all that stuff. And this stuff did overwhelm me. I was like, Malerie, help me. I don't know what I'm doing with email. I read through so many tutorials and I was just like, oh, this is so frustrating because I had my own blocks about my own imposter syndrome and stuff. So all of my personal stuff was getting in the way of just taking the right actions to build my email list. And I know how to read a how-to article and implement it, but I was still getting stuck because I wasn't in the right headspace for it. So I think that's important to say that if that is blocking you, to get help on that, but it can also be as simple as creating a Google form. That's what I did when I started my massage business, was anyone want to sign up for a massage? That's all I knew how to do to collect information from people. And so it gathered their contact information. And that was my database for a while. It was just a Google form. So if you can't afford the next technology or software, Google Forms are free.
And to be honest, as a new coach who doesn't have a full-on business, you have time to do it all. You don't have to automate it. That's what I did for a few years. I was just matter of fact, I think it helped because I was in such personal proximity with them. And so you have that time right now. You're always going to pay in time or money when you're growing your business. And at the beginning, as a new coach, it's going to come in time. Just like you getting those first 10 practice clients, they are paying in time. I appreciated those who allowed me to practice. That was a big deal to go and find those people who would be consistent for 6 sessions. So you're paying either way. Just be okay with at the beginning, instead of being overwhelmed, just choose to do it by hand. Choose to do it one step at a time. Write the email, send it, save it. The next person you copy paste and you send it to them. It's totally possible. Probably crazy to these young kids, but not for this old gal. Okay. So a landing page or an opt-in page is a simple form that says, so you want to get your life together, sign up here. And when you click on it, their email goes in and then they get the product. It could be on your social media. It could be something that you send through private message, but regardless, it has to have a place to land. That link has to land somewheres. You could look at our, at my Instagram where it says click on the bio. Those are forms. Those are, should we pull one up? Or I guess that would be too complicated. It's really simple to, like, there's lots of choices, I guess is what I'm saying. You decide which one works best for you. Right now, we're doing the pitch perfect. And my opt-in page is Zoom. It's forms and Zoom. Like, that's how simple, absolutely free. I used Google Form. And at the very top, I said what it was, 2 sentences, 5 questions. And the very last question says, click here to register. And it pays through Zoom. So simple. I think that we could, well, it's there. They can click on it. It's already there because that's the one I'm talking about. All right. I don't think we have any questions, but if you're watching this later, if you're catching the replay and you comment, one of us will come back and answer. We do this every week. We have something about growing your business, building your business, launching your business, the beginning phases before $50,000. That's really what we're focused on, is how can we answer the questions that were so hard for us to get answers to because it was so overwhelming, or the ones who knew it wouldn't give it. Now you can pretty much build your whole business just by searching and going to YouTube. It's just going to take you time to do all of the research, or you could do something like eSchool, which is going to take you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the steps you need to take every single week. This is exactly what you need to do. And I want to add something here because I think so many coaches get discouraged when they put this valuable offer because you put so much work into it, right? And so much intention. And they don't want it. Like, no one signs up for it. Like, I just did 2 years of coach training and I know what I'm doing. And why don't you want my coaching, right? Or why don't you want my free product? Why don't you want it? Guys, you used to have to say it 5 or 6 times. Now it's minimum 8 to 12 because the market is putting out so much content that we fall through the cracks. And so you want to speak very specifically to your person. I am talking to new business owners, or they want to, either they're in between and they want to leave corporate and they want to start their business, or they're brand new at business, or they're changing their niche, but still brand new business owners. What are the first things that you have to do? How can we keep it simple, practical, and it applies to all businesses? That's our goal. And that $47 product, which is kind of near free, I had to promote it. I'm going to say probably 100 times. Would y'all say between all the more? You think it was more? We sent emails. I talked about it several times a day on every social media platform. I sent private messages. I told my Facebook group several times. I told my Facebook group and my paid groups.
And then I sent stuff out on the eSchool social media accounts. So I did some of that. I promoted on my social accounts. I sent out emails to your email list multiple times. Like many, I think it's probably more than 100 altogether.
We need to count that. We did reels. We did stories, stagnant posts, lives,
Personal outreach. So it's not just social media. It's like actually asking people and inviting people to what you're doing, and having that personal connection with people is huge too.
Yeah, I had several conversations, personal conversations. They wanted more details. They kind of wanted me to talk them into it. There were lots of things that were going on. And I just want to say that because we've got a really good business. And I had to do all of that. And I have 5,000 Facebook friends, 12,000 followers on my Kim Gilry business page. Like, all together, we have a lot of people that we're talking to. And that's how many times I had to do it. So I think we underestimate as new coaches and new business owners how much you have to market Or you can run Facebook ads. You can put the money out, but I do not recommend doing Facebook ads until you know what you're doing is working, and then you optimize it with Facebook ads. So if we're like, oh, this worked, it just needed to get in front of more people, then we're going to turn ads on, because we know that the copy worked, we know that the conversion worked, and we know that what happened once they came in worked. So once we do the assessment, then we might turn it on to ads, but not until we try it organically. Organic means personalized, not using a machine to put it out. Anything else you guys want to add? And is there anyone here who has questions? We're about 40 minutes in.
I just remember I looked back recently at my Take a Fiver freebie, and I think I posted about it twice, like maybe twice on Instagram, twice on my Facebook business page. And I was so discouraged by how few people signed up. I had people sign up, which was huge for me, my first time. But like you said, I put so much energy into creating all the cool, graphics for it and my presentation and the video. And I did a really cool Canva presentation with my video in it. And it was like, so creative, like so much energy. And then people sign up for it. I did the email sequence, and then people didn't follow up or answer my questions in the email or contact me. And I was so discouraged. And I realize now I had to do that 10 or 50 more times to get people interested in it. And it was really good. It's very valuable. It's something I use every day to this day. So if it's not working, it just means it's not enough action, or you reevaluate and change it up and pivot.
Or you haven't grown your audience. You don't want to come right onto social media and start pitching. We didn't even talk about that today, but you have to start building relationships. You've got to start making new connections. You have to start engaging first. Social media is not a pitching pool. It really isn't. What you're doing is offering value like we're doing right now. We're building this page up. We're gathering business owners who are interested and hoping that they're sending their friends or telling someone else. And we're doing it consistently every week. We show up every week and we do this. And it's kind of disheartening. Like, we want a lot of comments. We want a lot of people sharing it. We want you guys to come and ask questions, but we know that it's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's like we just tilled the garden and we are now planting the seeds. So now we're going to have to water, and then we're going to have to protect. And then we're going to all the stuff that you have to do. If you're planting tomatoes, what are all the stages? And I think if new coaches knew that, and they were like, because I always say it's a 4-year process. I mean, why are you entitled to a 6-figure year because you got a coach certification when we have physical therapists and doctors and lawyers and that are doing 4 to 8 to 12 years, and then they're not making that when they walk out the door? And so we've got to shift our perception to truly understand what financial freedom and personal freedom and time freedom cost at the beginning. What is the investment that you're willing to make in order to get that by being a business owner? Did you want to add something and I cut you off?
I was just going to say, I think I wanted to talk about this yesterday, and this is actually a topic for a whole different video, is that there's the thing that it's like a big misconception whenever you go to start a business that all of a sudden it's going to be there. And I think people underestimate how much energy and effort and how many times you have to talk about things for people to even just notice it, first of all. And then whenever it doesn't get noticed, or whenever you put it out a couple of times and then you start thinking that it's a problem with yourself, I think that's the second follow-up problem to that stops people from continuing to put it out there. Because then they start judging themselves and thinking there's something wrong with them and thinking they're not good enough and they're not professional enough. And that leads them to going to solving the wrong problems when the correct problem to solve is you need to do it more.
And while we're talking about this, Malerie, what have you experienced since, like, because you've been with me 3 years, 4 years, like in the business part, like when you first did my photos and came in.
Yeah.
And what do you see me doing? Like driving 21 hours to go to an event and bring my own people there. Like, what did that surprise you? How much effort I put out that most people would be like, I ain't doing that shit.
Yep. Yeah. It surprised me because I hadn't seen it before. And I didn't realize that you were doing all these things behind the scene. Like from my perspective, I couldn't see that. So it's like the iceberg situation where you don't see what's the behind the scenes work that it takes to build it. Like all the things that you went to and all the things that you hosted that you didn't have, like you didn't do it for the expectation of someone hiring you, but just for the sake of growing the audience and getting in front of more people and making sure that those people knew what you were talking about.
Building the brand.
Building the brand. Exactly.
That's building the brand.
I think a lot of people underestimate what it actually takes, especially now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's because I'm such a people pleaser and a problem solver. You know, it's like I want them to win so badly. And I'm disappointed when they were disappointed. This is what was so hard about raising kids. Like, it hurts to love and believe so deeply. It hurts. The disappointment and the letdown and the discouragement hurts, like physically hurts. And, you know, that's the reason we came up with this business, Grow Your Business series.
Yep.
Emily, were you surprised at what it takes? You kind of already said that. You thought you were going to just come out put your little freebie and you were just going to have a $50,000 business, get out of corporate, stay home with your baby.
Yeah, because, you know, like we've talked about before, when programs, certifications, they sell you on the big picture dream, which really could be 10 years from now. But you think once I graduate, that's what I'll have. But it is a rude awakening when you see how much effort it takes to get to that 10-year vision. And I think Tony Robbins says that, like, people underestimate what you can do in 10 years, overestimate what you can do in 1 year, or maybe it's backwards. But we think like we should have the success in 1 year. But really, if you just keep working at it, you could have that and much more in 10 years if you just keep going. But we think, well, it must be, I'm not good enough. Like Malerie said, we turn it into these personal problems that we're not good enough. And we just need to do it more. And we need more practice. We need to keep learning what doesn't work sometimes.
And honestly, it can happen way faster if you don't spend so much time focusing on what you think is not working. If you just traded in the negative moments and the doubtful moments and the disappointing moments, if you traded in the time that you spent there with just taking another action. So it's like, oh, no one clicked on that yet. I wonder what else they need to hear. If you could pivot in a matter of seconds and just go and try something else right there, like y'all see me do on social media. I'm like, oh, you must not have heard me. Here we go again. Oh, wait, maybe I need to do it in a video. Oh, obviously I need to do it in an email. I'm like, I don't let that stop me. And I can't take it personal because I can't afford to spend the time in the negativity or in the disbelief. I can't afford to spend the time there because it's too hard to come back out and start over again. That's why I don't stop working out either, because it's too hard to start back again. So I'm like, yep, that's my incentive. I just got to keep going. And so I'm actually looking at my social media, my personal page, like how many friends, local friends do I have that need to come off of my page? Because I'm like, what else do I need to change? I need to make room for new friends that are interested in what I'm interested in. All right, my friends, thank you for joining. Thank you, girls, for hopping on with me and for us doing it together. And we will see all of you next week. If this was valuable, please share it or tag a friend. I would really appreciate that. Reciprocity is giving something back in return. So just like I watched it, it was great. Guys, that's like worth more than money on social media.
The energy exchange is what lights me up. Like when I teach something to someone and they're like, yes, that was so good. I'm like, yay, it's better than money to me.
It is. I agree.
I like when they take what I teach and they go do it and they're like, wow, look what happened. It works. And they tell me that it works. And I'm like, that's it for me.
I know. So I'm just going to repeat this real fast before we hop off. You first have to decide you want to go into business, find out what your product is, or determine, commit to what your product is. Make sure your authority in that whatever it is that you're bringing to the table, that you feel confident in your skill set, and then come up with something that they will give you an email for. Follow up with an email that says, welcome, congratulations, here's what you do next. Put that on an opt-in page or a landing page. We're going to move there's other things to do, of course, but just for today, we wanted you to walk away with what are 3 things that you can do right now. And you can even break those down, So that's it. If you want to know more, you can reach out to one of us. We'll tell you about how we do this in eSchool. We're going to be having a whole day training on this, on just the creating their opt-in. I call it LEO, low end offer. Some people have other names for it.